Awesome.
My name's John Van Deusen, and I'm a singer-songwriter who makes, in most cases, loud indie rock music.
There we go. Well, John, obviously you're a solo artist, so I always love asking like the anthology of bands. So how did you start out doing music? Like what was kind of like the first like introduction to music and like wanting to, I guess, do it like live in front of people?
That's a great question. I started writing songs when I was probably 11, and I didn't really play them for anybody until the ninth grade talent show. I started a band with a couple of friends, and we played this talent show where we performed a song I wrote, and we actually won the talent show.
There you go.
And that kind of jump started my love of songwriting and performing. And I played in a band called The Lonely Forest for about 10 years. That started when I was in high school. And then in 2014, I guess took a break from that band to start releasing solo music.
Awesome, awesome. And kind of like, obviously you're a solo artist now, and you just mentioned that you were in a band before that. So like how is the transition of that, and like do you find that it's a little bit easier to do things as like a solo artist? I can speak for myself because like a lot of the content, if not all the content you see on the channel is like myself. And so I feel like I find a kinship with people that are solo artists and just like wanting to do it on your own. But was that something that you always had kind of envisioned for yourself as like just being a solo artist, or did you feel like, oh well, like the band was gonna do more and like I was gonna like do bigger things with the band, or was your like goal kind of like I want to do solo stuff?
Man, that's a great question.
Thank you.
I think I've always just loved writing songs and recording them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoy performing by myself, but I will say that there's an extreme joy to performing with a band, especially when there's a synergy on stage between the musicians. And I think with The Lonely Forest, we just played really well together. And it actually started as a solo project. It was called John Van Deusen and The Lonely Forest. And
That's sick.
And then we thought maybe it'd just be cooler if it was called The Lonely Forest. And I think, and The Lonely Forest did far more than I'll probably ever do as a solo artist. And I think now, I've kind of, some of that youthful ambition I had in my 20s is gone. And I think I just really love writing and recording songs. And I really love it's almost as if I see each full-length record as an art project. And
That's cool.
I really enjoy it. And I think I play in a hardcore punk band,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of offsets my need to play in a band.
There you go.
And when I'm in the studio by myself, I think it allows me to take a lot of risks that you can't really take when you're in a band, because, you really want to honor the democracy that you have going. And so I don't know if that answers your question. I think...
No, I feel like it does, because like I love the perspective of like somebody that rides kind of both waves. It's cool because it's like, oh, you can see the perspective of somebody that's in a band, wants to create music, and like you all have like a collective opinion about something. Like if you like come to somebody else in your band and is like, oh, I like this riff, or I feel like this vocal melody is really cool, or like this drum line's really cool, and then that could be worked off of, and that camaraderie is really cool. And I think even talking about before, when you're like live and on stage, I feel like that shows, as somebody who's been going to shows for a very long time, I love when I see a band that really kind of gets into it, and like they're having a good time and they're like enjoying being on stage, and they have just that performance like love, and like you can see it, and that appreciation is shown like out into the audience, and then hopefully us as fans can receive that and give it back, because music's such like a powerful thing. And I think when people put a lot of passion and drive and like heart into it, it's definitely shows. And but I like that I like that you show both sides of the fence of like, okay, when you're doing solo stuff, you're like, oh, I'm willing to take more risks with it because it's like it's my stuff. Like I don't think I'll maybe get the chance to do it if I'm like in a band and doing it that way, because you have like other people's opinions, about certain things. And I feel like even with the stuff that you released, your solo stuff that I was listening to before we hopped on, I was like just it's cool to like get like a first glimpse of somebody that you don't know, that you've never met, and listen to their music like right off the bat. I think that's one of the cool things about like what I do is like I'll listen to a record that I've never heard from somebody I have like no cool, I've never met them in my entire life, and like you can just kind of get a glimpse of who they are as a person, like without even like talking to them. And I think that
Yeah.
that really shows in
So
a lot of your stuff.
so who am I then?
I
What was the glimpse you got into me?
I mean,
That's an interesting
I
thing.
feel like for me it was really like honest, and that's like not, I feel like that's not really a cop out answer, but like I appreciate when an artist is very honest with themselves, because I feel like it shows in a lot of what they write. And so,
Right.
it's a perspective thing, and maybe it's me just being like, I'm 26, so like I'm like in that transition phase in my life now, and so I feel like it's cool to have somebody that's like, a little bit further along in life and has more of a different perspective, as like, not only an artist but as somebody that's like, older and has more experience. I think it's really cool. And so I felt like when I was listening to it, I was just like, man, John's being really honest, and I dig the hell out of that. That is so cool.
Thank you.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you.
But we're gonna keep it rolling, John. I always love asking this question. You said you've been touring with bands for a very long time. You're a solo artist now, but what are some favorite venues you like to go to see shows at in your hometown, or some venues you'd like to play when you're, out on tour and doing the live music thing?
Well, there used to be a music venue in Anacortes where I live. I live in a very small town.
Oh,
We had
that.
we had an all ages venue called the Department of Safety, but it shut down a few years ago. So honestly, there really isn't a venue in Anacortes that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say there's a good handful of venues I love in Seattle. I really enjoy seeing bands play at a place called Numos,
Okay.
and then a place called the Showbox.
Okay, I'll have to check them out if I ever
Yeah,
make it
I
out
love.
to Seattle.
Yeah, they're just really good, medium-sized, like rock clubs, and not just for rock bands, but
Yeah.
it always sounds really good there, and I really appreciate that. As far as places I love to play, I think my favorite, I could list a couple of my favorite venues in the States. I love the 930 Club in Washington, D.C., and I also really love First Ave in Minneapolis.
Nice. Okay.
The Fillmore in San Francisco is a favorite spot.
There you go. I think they're
Um,
like a chain too. I'm pretty sure, because there's like a few. There's like a
oh,
few different Fillmores. I know like there's one, I live like probably about a half an hour away from Philadelphia, and they have one
okay.
in Philly as well. So I don't know if it's like a
Oh
part of the
man,
same chain of venues or not.
I played this beautiful theater in Philadelphia. It was in Chinatown with Death Cab for
Oh,
Cutie,
the
and
Trocadero.
is that it? Yeah,
That is
man,
the
that place is
Troc.
amazing.
Yes. So fun fact about that venue. I know we're really taking it off a side rail, but the venue apparently used to be like an actual theater where they like, showed like opera and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
they, if you looked up, there's like a net, and what used to be in the net was the roof had collapsed, and so they had to, patch the roof up, but they still didn't want to like lose business, so they had shows there. And it was nuts. So like that, so every time unfortunately that got closed down, I think like it has to be like a little bit less than a year ago now. But it's unfortunate, because I feel like that I agree with you, John, like the venue is so like unique and just like old school.
Yeah. Wait, the Trocadero closed down.
Correct.
That's sad.
Yeah, it was really bad. But I mean, also like I feel like, living so close to Philly, there's just a ton of fantastic venues. Like I love. I haven't been there yet, but I'd like to go to a show at the First Unitarian Church. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Oh,
Um,
I've played there.
that I've heard nothing but good
That place
things.
is great.
Yeah, I've heard really good things. There's been some really good like small like hardcore shows that I've seen like bills for, and I've just like missed out. But I think Vane's coming to there, so I feel like I'm gonna do it. You know.
Cool. Awesome.
Awesome. Next question, John. To kind of follow up the venues, what was the last show that you attended that you didn't play?
Oh man. You're okay with me thinking about this for a second?
That is fine. No problem.
Okay,
I can speak some gibberish.
oh
if you
yeah,
want.
yeah, I got it. I saw the Microphones and Black Belt Eagle Scout
Oh, interesting. Okay.
in Anacortes. There was a show. It was an anniversary show of this festival in Anacortes called What the Heck Fest, and so they tried to duplicate or reproduce the first ever lineup for What the Heck Fest, and so that had some really iconic local artists here. Mecca Normal was one of the bands. They're like
Okay.
old like Riot Girl,
Interesting.
like what's the term? Like really influential in the Northwest. But yeah, I'd say the two headliners were Black Belt Eagle Scout and the Microphones. So that was the last show I attended and did not play.
There you go. Awesome. Well, we're gonna get into the juiciest question of them all, John. What are some of your musical influences? Who do you draw from?
That's a great question. I because I like to shapeshift a little bit from record to record,
Yeah.
I tend to draw, depending on the record, I draw different influences. For the latest record, I was trying to record a 90s radio rock record. And so I was really kind of into like early Weezer and Foo Fighters,
Yeah.
early Jimmy Eat World, even stuff that was maybe a little bit more on the fringe in the 90s, like Built to Spill and Pavement, and then even stuff that I wouldn't consider maybe like the coolest, but stuff that I love, like Third Eye Blind and Everclear and Semisonic, even some of the one-hit wonders from the 90s. I was just kind of listening to the chord progressions and the way that they were, I don't know, the way the drums sounded, stuff like that. But in general, I tend to love music made in the Northwest. I tend to love punk music and anything that kind of came out of the punk scene in the UK
Yeah.
in the late 70s and early 80s. So I love, like, my favorite band of all time is called XTC.
Okay.
They were basically a band that wanted to be a punk band, but they loved the Beach Boys and the Beatles and the Kinks way too much. And they just eventually became this kind of weird pop band that never had any success because, I mean, they had minor success, but the singer was a little too, he's too much of a hermit. Like, he didn't really enjoy performing. And so they stopped touring and just made these weird studio records. So I love that band, XTC. They're pretty divisive though. You either hate them or you love them.
I'll have to give them a listen then and see how divisive they are.
Yeah, all right.
But I definitely agree with what you were saying about like 90s like old, like 90s rock. Like I love Weezer. I actually just, not to like bring the hipster out of me, but I picked up Bleed American by Jimmy Eat World on vinyl recently. I mean, I love that
awesome.
record anyway, but like I picked it up. I was like at a record store and I was like, this is legit. I need this like right now. So I picked it up.
Yeah.
And so I like, in like early Foo Fighters, like I love like, obviously like Everlong's like probably one of the best tracks, obviously, and like Monkey Wrench, like stuff like that. Like I feel like when you had mentioned that like old Foo Fighters and stuff, like I was like, yeah, I could definitely hear that.
Oh, good.
But
that's good.
you could definitely, I feel like if I didn't know any better and you're like, this came out in the 90s with maybe like the tiniest bit better like production, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, awesome. That's exactly what I want to hear.
There we go. Awesome.
Sorry,
John.
one sec. There's a loud noise. I'm moving. I'm outside of my in my yard. I'm moving. Okay, better.
Awesome. So my next question, John, kind of to follow up the influences, who have you been listening to? Who have you been jamming recently, like on Spotify or whatever you want to plug, pretty much.
Oh man, I would love to plug Frankie Cosmos.
Okay. Interesting.
Frankie Cosmos. Frankie Cosmos is a band on Sub Pop Records, fronted by Greta Klein. She's from New York. She's just a really good songwriter. She just released a new song today, actually, and I really liked it.
There you go.
So it's kind of got this like bedroom. It's like bedroom indie rock. You can hear a little bit of punk in it, but you can also hear some of the like DIY K Records music from Olympia, Washington. You can hear influences in Greta's music from there, and then that makes me really happy because, you know, I grew up here in Anacortes, and there's a lot of that type of music here. But yeah, I would definitely plug Greta's music, Frankie Cosmos. I use Apple Music, and so I love it. I just add full albums all the time, and I've recently added so many. Like, I kind of just want to like look. Hold on, 1 second.
There you go.
One second. I'll tell you exactly who I've. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the latest albums added by me were a couple albums by Descendants, the punk band.
Nice. Yes. Classics.
A couple albums by Stereolab. A few by Slater Kinney. The new Dude York record. Dude York
sick.
is a band.
Yeah.
Seattle. I also added John Coltrane's "A Love Supreme."
There you go. Classic. There you go.
So yeah, those. How about those? I feel like those are good plugs.
That was an eclectic mix of music that I really appreciated, especially the John Coltrane. That's like really throwing it back.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty far out record. I'm surprised at how weird it is. So I'm into it.
Awesome. Well, my next question, John, keeping with the music theme as per usual, if you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Oh, well, I've actually been thinking about doing a covers record of all like a Bandcamp only like covers record.
Okay.
And the first one that comes to mind is this song by this woman named Judy Sill.
Okay.
Judeessill, and it's called The Kiss. I basically think it's one of the greatest songs ever written. And I've been wanting to cover it for a long time. I don't really know how I'd cover it because it's a very gentle piano song that has these just very lush string arrangements, and I don't know if I would try to like make it loud, but I do plan on covering that song. Dude, if you don't know about Judy Sill, you should check her out. She was, I think, the first one signed to Asylum Records, which was David Geffen's record label.
Okay.
Like his first record label, I think. I don't know for sure, but her story's nuts. Like, you should go read her bio. She, like, at one point was robbing banks with a boyfriend. And, like, anyways, her records didn't do very well. This is in the 70s. And she ended up dying. She ended up dying of, like, a heroin overdose, which is super sad.
Yes.
So her story's just really depressing, but her music is just very beautiful, very, like, kind of mystic, like, spiritually mystical.
Yeah.
I don't know. You should just listen. But I will say it's folky, and it has some, like, old country. So unless that's your thing, you might not like it. I don't know. But
I'm a fan of like folk stuff. I would say less so with country, but I'm always willing to give at least something one chance to just kind of like sway my opinion on it. But that I think just the storyline of her life is just like the craziest dichotomy between like what she makes, like as in like softer, more like refined stuff, and then her whole life is just like the complete opposite. So I feel like you've sold me on her backstory. So then now I'll go listen to her music and be like, wow, that is so different than what I imagined it to be.
Oh, definitely. Just read her bio. and then put on headphones and listen to The Kiss.
Okay, I
And
will.
it's just kind of weird and transcendent. She was really into like doubling and tripling her vocals, which
So
wasn't
like harmonies and stuff.
Yeah, but like this is more digital, right? And so kind of like old Beach Boys records. So it was like folk, but then it had these. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I have to drive somewhere, by the way. So I'm just gonna keep talking to you. Anyways, I need to stop talking about Judy Sill because I'll talk about her all night. And
That's
yeah.
okay. That's
Okay. Keep going. Keep asking questions.
We're giving some love to Judy Phil, so that's
Yes.
that's awesome. But anyway, we'll continue the conversation. Keeping with the fun sort of questions. Favorite food to eat?
Oh man. Well, I'm on this no grain diet, which is kind of the worst thing in the world. So I don't eat corn or wheat or rice.
Oh,
And
man.
I'd say that right now, like all I want to eat is Mexican food because I haven't been eating corn.
Oh.
I love Mexican food. I think that might be my favorite food.
Amen.
And I also really love green things. I like pesto and I love guacamole.
There you go.
Those are my favorite foods.
I'm all about it. I feel like we're long lost friends because I'm all about the Mexican food. I love it.
Nice.
It's all that's. I mean, like if there was just like one kind of cuisine that I could eat for the rest of my life, it would definitely be like Mexican food, without a
Nice.
doubt. But keeping with the questions, John. Another music related one. If you could pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest vocalist on your next record or a producer you'd like to work with in the future, who would it be?
That's a very good question.
Oh, thank you.
I keep saying that, but you're asking good questions.
Well, thank you.
I am actually hoping. I haven't asked them yet,
Well,
but
you should.
so I'm doing this.
Now's the time to ask him, like on the
Yeah,
internet.
maybe so.
It will be on the internet forever, so you can just be like, "Listen, I said it on the internet. It's here.
Yeah, I mean it.
Now you mean it."
Well, so I'm doing this album series, and I've been writing and demoing part 5, and because I just released part 3, part 4 has been recorded. I still need to do some work on it, but now I'm kind of moving on to part 5, and I really want to ask a friend of mine from Anacortes who actually moved out. He moved away from Anacortes, but his name's Phil Elverum. I really want him to produce my 5th record. So
there you go.
So yeah, Phil, I really want to. I want to know what would happen when my pop songwriting is filtered through his like weirdo production. And then Andy Partridge from XTC, that band I was telling you about.
Yes.
I want to write a song with that man so badly. I mean, it will never happen, but he's like my dream collaborator. I'm going to fly to England and find him.
Listen,
to the
hey,
English countryside.
That's like the products of the internet. You never know. Stranger things have happened, and so
Indeed.
now it's out in the ether. So if Andy Cordes somehow watches this and is just like, man, I want to do a song with John, like now it'll happen. So I just want a little bit of credit. If you just put my name like next to the song, like in your album or whatever, that's all I want.
Perfect.
That's all I could live with that, knowing that I've connected 2 worlds together. And that's it.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
I can do that.
Next question, John. Another music-related question. If there's another musical instrument that you could be super proficient at, what would it be?
Super proficient.
Yeah. Just
I mean,
like shred.
I feel like I play a good handful of instruments, but I'm pretty mediocre at all of them. But I'm kind of okay with that. I think if I could be really, really, really good at an instrument I don't play at all, it would be the violin.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome. I feel like it would fit with your sound too. Like it's just like you could be like, you could have a little bit of a violin thing going on with that. I feel like that would be cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Next question, John. If you could compile a dream tour, who'd be on your lineup?
Oh man, dream tour?
Yeah, with you on it. I mean, I feel like that's
okay.
Like
so
a
I have to
given.
be on the tour.
Yeah, like why would you not want to?
Okay. Oh, dang it. See, my car, one second. My car is... You there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm back. My car does this thing where it like puts me into Bluetooth when I don't want it to. It's really irritating. Oh my gosh. Is this the kind of thing where like I can choose bands that are done? Or is this like
I feel
current
like
bands?
okay, so I'll give you two divergent paths. So you can choose whether to go with something that's like more current, where all of these people are still alive or the band's still together, or you can go off the rails and go with something that's just like this is like the John tour that like I don't care if they're broken up, they're gonna get back together and they're gonna do a record, or like if a person dies, they're just gonna be like resurrected, you know?
Okay. Okay, can I do both?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that
Okay,
would be
so
interesting.
if I had like a time machine and like all the like infinity
You
stones,
had
I could do
every
whatever I want.
necessary tool to
Yeah.
formulate a tour from like the
Okay.
grave. That would be it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it would be me opening first of three with Nirvana as main support and the
Oh.
Beatles as the headliner.
Wow, dude, you're just, I mean, listen, shoot for the stars, man. I'm all about it.
Yeah, hell yeah. I have
Eh.
the Infinity Stones. I can do whatever I want. That's the tour. That's like I want to see both those bands play live so badly, and it will never happen. And so I figured,
Why not?
that's both were. Well, Nirvana is a legendary live band. Honestly, I don't know if the Beatles were a legendary live band. In some ways, they were more of a studio band. But I would die to see them play.
Of course.
As for a current tour, I kind of wish. Okay, here's the deal. I'm gonna play one song at each show, and then I just give the stage to these other people. Is this cool?
Okay. I mean, listen,
Okay.
it's your tour. You make the rules, man.
Okay, I'm thinking Frankie Cosmos.
Okay.
There's this band called Waxahachie. I like.
Okay.
Snail Mail. I like Snail Mail.
Snail mail is tight, yeah.
Yeah. Lizzo.
Nice, yeah.
I'm thinking. Oh, Phoebe Bridgers. She should be on this tour, and then Big Thief. It'd be the
Nice.
greatest tour of all time.
That would be sick. Funny story about snail mail. Not to like make this about me or anything, but so as I told you, I collect vinyl because I'm a hipster pretty much. And I went to this local record store, or not really local. It's like about an hour away from me. And I was going to pick up some vinyls and just like look around because I had never been there before. And ironically enough, Snail Mail was playing at that record store, and I was like,
Really?
"Oh, this is tight!" I didn't know who it was. Like I didn't see any like posters. I didn't see anything for it, and I was just like, "This is really cool. Like I could get down with this." Like I'm like I definitely feel like I'm more along the lines of like alternative indie. Like I definitely delve more into like like metalcore, hardcore stuff like that. But I can really get into some indie stuff, and so they were just playing like as I was like moseying through this like record store, and then like I like was like just scrolling through music, and I was like I found a Snail Mail song, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I was just like, wait a second, I saw them and didn't even know it. So
That's rad.
so that was really cool, and I'm glad they're kind of getting a lot bigger now because I was very surprised that like no one, like hardly anybody was at that like little record store like pop-up show. So hopefully they'll get a little bigger and people will know more about them. But I feel like
Oh yeah. I feel like since her, I feel like she in the last year like has definitely like she's pretty well known.
Oh yeah.
And my thing is that she just seems so cool. Like, and I don't mean that in like it's hard to explain. I just think she seems like a really neat person. And I was thinking kind of recently that if I had a daughter, I'd want her to be like Lindsay Jordan of Snail Mail. Even though I don't know her, I just get this vibe that she's got a good.
She's probably pretty cool. I mean,
a good
like,
soul.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, but I also feel like that's I feel like that's mostly generalized amongst like a lot of musicians, because like I've said it in like past interviews and stuff. I was like, honestly, this music scene just as a whole, like alternative and like indie and stuff, I feel like a lot of people are just like way like super nice, like super open, and like that is one thing that I like love about doing it. And won't like, even if I do like get bigger, like I would never stop doing like indie and like more underground stuff, because I feel like these types of people, like including yourself, are very like wholesome, and like, it's about the music as well as like, having that love and passion for it. And I think it, like when we were talking about earlier, it shows. And so I think it also shows in like, the people that are creating it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, next question, John, kind of continuing on with the Dream Tour thing. In your opinion, who puts on a great live show?
Is this somebody that I've seen live myself?
I feel like, how about you give me one that you've seen live, and then I guess another one where you've seen like
footage,
like an
video,
auxiliary kind of thing, like a YouTube video or something like that.
Okay. Man, it's hard to choose, like, from all the bands I've seen live, like who puts on just the most killer show.
True.
Because sometimes you see, I just feel like I've seen bands and I've just cried. It's been so good.
Oh yeah.
I think now I'm just remembering one show in particular, and I'm just going to go with that. I saw Death Cab for Cutie at the 930 Club in Washington, D.C., and this was maybe 2011, I don't know. Okay. And they were just so scrappy that specific night. There was something about it. They were just really, they played louder than usual, and they were having a lot of fun, and they were even like making mistakes, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Like it just felt like maybe they'd been teleported back in time a little bit to when maybe they were a little bit younger, and there was more magic in performing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they don't. Yeah, and I'm not saying they don't feel that way now. It's just there's something special about that night. So I will say that I think, I don't know how they are now because they have a new lineup, but I will say that lineup, that original Death Cab lineup, was really, really good live, especially in a smaller room.
Oh, yeah.
Like 930 Club. I will also say that I watched Lizzo's Tiny Desk concert.
Yes.
And she's
ripping.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows you can't deny her prodigious talent, her charisma. She's just special. Yeah, and she's really good.
She was really, like, I like found out about her recently, and like that, I would say that that's not my sphere of music. Like, I feel like I understand it, but not maybe to the extent of like, like metal and like hardcore and stuff like that. But man, she is just like, I don't know, like you were saying, she just has that like charisma, that heart, and like she wears her emotions on her sleeve. And I think that like not a lot of like mainstream like pop, I mean, I guess she's kind of pop like artists like don't have that like honesty. And I think honestly for me it's like kind of like that same like punk mentality, like when I see a band like in this sphere of music like playing, it's that type of honesty that I see in her stuff. So that's why I think on that level, that's why I appreciate her, and just like her voice, obviously.
Yeah, and she's funny, man.
She was hilarious.
So
like,
funny.
If guys, if you haven't checked it out, definitely go do so, because it was awesome. I mean, Lizzo, if you want to come on, that'd be sick. But I just figured I'd get that out there. If we're gonna be talking about it, I feel like maybe she, it might be blessed into the ether for that. But anyway, next question, John. Keeping it fun as well. Favorite TV show, favorite movie.
I think historically, for me, my favorite TV show is Breaking Bad. Although classic. I will say that, I mean, I love TV, and I love a lot of TV shows, and it's hard for me to choose, but that's one that just kind of stuck with me. I just feel like as a whole piece of art,
Oh yeah.
from start to finish. I really loved it. And my favorite movie historically has always been, since maybe I was in 7th grade. I've always loved The Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I really love that movie. I will say that I love many, 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 many other movies. One of my favorites. Every time I watch it, I love it more. And actually, I think that perfectly describes the type of movies I love. Like, if I love a movie, every time I watch it, I enjoy it more than the last time. And there's a Coen Brothers film called No Country for Old Men, and every time I watch it, I love it more. And I just think it's nearly perfect. So
there we go.
But
Awesome.
But I could talk to you about movies for a long time, so you should go to the next question.
There we go. Well, I mean, now we'll just have to have like a separate like podcast for just like movies.
Perfect.
Awesome. Next question, John. If you're trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one album you could bring with you, what would it be?
Oh.
It's a weighted one. This one's like the end cap, to the interview. So I feel like I gotta hit you with a good one.
Yeah, that's really tough because music is a way. It's like one of the ways I feel tethered to humanity. Like, I feel human when I listen to music, and I think
I understand it. If you think it was easy for me to ask that question, it was not.
Yeah. Well, okay, I have to think just for a second.
There you go.
That's so hard. I'm trying. Okay, I'm gonna preface my answer so you understand.
Okay. All right.
Because
give it to me.
I'm thinking, like, if I was on a desert island, I'd be probably really lonely and depressed.
Okay.
And I would want to feel. I'd want to have something to listen to that like made me feel less alone and more.
Okay. I can respect that.
Emotionally and mentally and spiritually sound.
Okay.
And so that's what's driving my search in the moment. So it's not like a gut reaction, like favorite album of all time answer. It's more like, okay, literally from a utilitarian perspective, like what would keep me going? And so that's, oh man, this is hard. This is so hard. I almost have to like go look at my record collection. I'm just like,
honestly, I appreciate when people, and I'll let you think while I'm go on a little bit of a rant, but I love when people really like think hard about it. Like I feel like for like me, like as like somebody who cultivates a lot of music, I think it's cool for me to have somebody like really like not hurting, but like feeling like, oh man, now I have to pick something.
Yeah, this is a very hard. It's a hard. I'm taking this very seriously.
I appreciate it.
I'm looking through my record collection.
There we go. Well, I mean, like, and some of my answers, like you said, you give like some people are like, oh, I gave like my favorite album of all time, or like one that I've been like one that like wouldn't like make me go nuts, or like what's one that I could just chill out with, which is like 90% of the answer is like Bob Marley. So like, or like, what's his name that did Margaritaville? Like that sort of stuff.
Jimmy Buffett?
Jimmy Buffett, yeah. I knew it, but I was having a brain fart moment. But like
no worries.
I feel like those people pick that as like, I wouldn't say a cop out answer, but like I was saying before, I feel like when you are really like intelligently thinking about it, like, what am I gonna listen to for like the next month? Like, that I will enjoy, that will keep me alive, keep me going. That's probably some of those are some of my favorite answers, even if I may not know the record. Like, I definitely respect it.
Well, I think I found it. I feel like if I take too much longer, it's not going to be a like proper answer, and so There's this. I have Sufjan Stevens, Carrie and Lowell,
Oh,
and there's just something about that record. Even though even though lyrically it's a little bleak and he's singing about death, there's something so tragically beautiful about it that it like lifts my spirit. And
okay.
I think I would want to hear that record because it's so calming and it's so like borderline meditative, and it's just very beautiful, like in a very stark and simple way. And I could see myself on a desert island being like, okay, it's time, and like listening to Carrie and Lowell and really like having it help me along. So that's my answer.
I appreciate that, John. You really thought hard about it, and I feel like it shows in your answer, even if like I do know Sufjan Stevens, but like, I feel like that was I'll give you a round of applause. That was a beautiful answer.
Thank you.
Might be the one to beat so far. But I appreciate you taking like the better half of maybe like 5 minutes to decide on something. So that is true dedication. While I just kind of like BS my way through the whole like let me just try to give John some more time to answer the question. So
thank you.
That was it. But we have come to the end of the road, John. Tell them about you, your music, where they can find you at, and anything coming up in the next couple months.
You can find my music at johnvandeusen.com. You can search my name on Spotify, Amazon, wherever. You can find the punk band I play in. We're called Buffet, Buffet. You can find us on Spotify or wherever. It's kind of somewhere between Descendants and Minor Threat. Ooh. And maybe some Fugazi, if that's your thing.
Ooh, all right.
I'm also touring Europe this fall, so if by any chance anybody's listening to this who lives in Germany, I will be there in September and October. And maybe just keep your eyes out for more projects, because I've got a couple projects in the works, and I'm really, there's lots of songs to release. So if you listen to my record, A Catacomb Hymn, and you like it, then I guess just keep your eyes open for more music. So.
Awesome. Well, go check out John. I gotta give massive love to one of my favorite people, Becky, over at Big Picture Media. She always hooks me up with some really good people that I always have a pleasure talking to. So glad to add John to the list. But go check out John's stuff. Links in the description where you can find out about his music. And like you said, if you are in Europe, go say what's up to him. And hopefully he'll be touring the East Coast soon, fingers crossed. And go check out his new record. It's really good. And I think as somebody who curates a lot of music, I appreciate the honesty and just the rawness of this record. So please go give it a listen. I hope to be getting a review out very soon of it, because I've been a little bit behind. There's been some life stuff going on recently, so I haven't had the time to be able to do stuff, but I will definitely be doing some sort of promotional thing for John, because we had such a great conversation that I feel like, if anything, now I have to do more stuff for John. So
dude, don't worry about it.
No, I'm gonna
do what you gotta do.
I'm gonna do all of it, because John's the man. I haven't seen him face to face, but I imagine at some point in life we will cross paths. So if you enjoyed this interview, share it, like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. And massive thanks to John for coming on and chatting.
Dude, thank you so much.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.